Read your cards carefully. He's knocked out. Colorless dragon. The middle era is 2002 to 2013.
Fighting.
Sound it out.
Psychic.
The pre-modern era
Lightning.
is 2013
Water.
to 20. You must immediately advance. All right, let's get started.
Hi, I'm Neil.
I'm Katie.
And we are Higher Education.
Today we're going to be playing through the newest version of the Pokémon Trading Card Game, Battle Academy. And the purpose of this is to teach anyone new to the game the very basic fundamentals of how to play. So let's get started.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so the first thing to do with the Battle Academy is decide which player is going to play which deck. One of the decks is based around Armarouge, and the other deck is based around Pikachu. It is very important that you take these decks and that you do not shuffle them. They're placed in a very specific order in order to help you play through the tutorial and teach you how to play. If you accidentally shuffle or you want to reset the tutorial for a future learner, in the bottom right-hand corner of the cards, there is a number so you can put each deck back in sequence from number 1 through 60. So start by putting our decks off to the side. Now, Katie and I have available to us damage counters, poison marker, a burn marker, and a coin. Each game begins with players flipping a coin to decide who goes first. Honey, would you like to call heads or tails?
Heads.
It is tails. I will go first, which I believe is what's supposed to happen anyway since I'm player 1 in the tutorial. We have damage counters. These yellow ones represent 10 damage. Orange represents 50 damage. And red, if we need them, represents 100 damage. So now we're going to begin, and each of us is going to draw the top 7 cards of our deck. At the beginning of the game, you must have a basic Pokemon in your opening hand in order to put it down, face down, in the active spot as your starting Pokemon. If you do not have any basics in your hand, that's called a mulligan, and you can read about that in the rulebook or watch our other videos. You are permitted to place other basic Pokemon onto the bench, but right now we're not going to do that. The next thing we're going to do is place prize cards. For this tutorial, we're going to place 4 cards from the top of our deck, face down, off to the side, as prize cards. Prize cards are very important as they are one of the main ways that the game can be won. If you're not sure if your deck is in the correct order for the tutorial, you can see a picture of what your starting hand should be at the bottom of the page. Now that we're ready to get started, we'll flip over our starting active Pokemon, and because I'm going first, I'll begin by drawing a card. Drawing a card from the top of your deck is always the first thing you do at the beginning of your turn. If you cannot draw a card at the beginning of your turn, you lose the game. Drawing a card is mandatory. You must do it at the beginning of every single turn. In this case, I'm going to take a fire energy, I'll use the one that I just drew, and place it underneath of Fuecoco in order to attach it to him. Attaching energy to Pokemon unlocks their attacks and enables those attacks to be used. You can only attach one energy card from your hand to your Pokemon during a turn under normal circumstances. In this case, I'm going first. The very first player on the very first turn of the game can neither attack nor play a type of card called supporters. I don't have a supporter in my hand. I've attached an energy. I'm unable to attack. If you are unable to attack or you don't want to attack, when you're ready to end your turn, you simply tell your opponent that you are done, and then their turn will begin. So I will pass to you.
All right, so then as always, I draw a card to start my turn. The first thing that I want to do is attach an energy to Voltorb This unlocks his first attack, Lightning Ball. I do not have any other cards that I want to play at this time, so I'm going to go ahead and attack Fuecoco with Lightning Ball for 10 damage, and attacking ends your turn.
Yes, that's very important. So we'll place 1 damage counter, or 10 damage, on Fuecoco. 1 damage counter represents 10 damage. You'll notice that every attack has a cost, a name, and then some kind of effect. The effect is either only base damage, represented by numbers next to the name. Sometimes there will be text describing an additional effect. Some attacks only have an effect. Some attacks only have base damage, as illustrated by this Fuecoco and Voltorb that Katie and I currently have in play. Every attack has one or both of those two things. As Katie said, attacking ends her turn, so now I begin by drawing a card. The card that I've drawn is a basic Pokemon named Charcadet. I'm going to go ahead and play Charcadet face up to my bench. The bench has 5 spots available, and each player always has an active Pokemon. If at any point you're unable to put a Pokemon into the active spot because you don't have any more Pokemon in play, you lose the game regardless of how many prize cards your opponent has remaining. There are 5 spots on the bench and 1 active spot, representing the 6 Pokemon that a trainer is allowed to carry with them into battle. Now I'm going to take one of the other energy cards from my hand and place it under Fuecoco again, attaching it and unlocking his second attack, Ram. I will now use Ram to deal 30 base damage to Katie's Voltorb, and attacking ends my turn.
Alright, now I'm going to place 3 damage counters on Voltorb to represent the 30 damage that Neil's Fuecoco did to Voltorb. Now I draw, and I drew a supporter named Nimona. I'm going to play this card to draw 3 cards from my deck. Once you play a card, it goes into your discard pile if it is not a Pokemon on your bench. I'm going to play the basic card Mareep to my bench. I'm going to attach another basic energy to Voltorb, which gives me 2 energy to unlock its second attack, Rollout. I'm going to attack Neil's Fuecoco with Rollout for 20 damage, and that ends my turn.
All right, Katie's attack ended her turn, so now it's mine. I'm going to begin by drawing a card. I've drawn a card, and it's another Fuecoco. I don't really need another Fuecoco in play right now, so I'll hold off on putting it down. I don't have any trainer cards, like Katie's Nimona. Trainer cards represent actions or items that help you in your Pokemon battle. So for now, what I'm going to do is attach a basic fire energy to my Charcadet on the bench. I want to start unlocking Charcadet's attacks because I don't need any more energy on my Fuecoco in order to attack, and as Fuecoco continues to accumulate damage, it's getting closer to being knocked out. So I will go ahead and end my turn by using Ram once again for another 30 damage.
Okay, so 30 plus 30 is 60, and I can represent that by leaving 110 on and adding a 50 to represent the 60 damage that Voltorb now has. Now, my Voltorb only has 70 HP, and you can find that number on all of your Pokemon cards. This is located in the upper right-hand corner. Now, I start my turn. I draw a card. I'm going to attach a basic lightning energy to my Mareep, who is on the bench. Now, to avoid my Voltorb getting knocked out on its next turn, I'm going to retreat him. To find your retreat cost, look in the lower right-hand corner of your card. Voltorb's retreat cost is 1 energy. So I remove 1 energy and discard it to represent paying that cost. I can now move him to the bench. I don't have an active Pokemon now, so I have to move someone from my bench to the active spot. Mareep is my only option. He has 1 attack that is ready to be used. I'm going to use Headbutt for 10 damage.
Okay, I will place the 10 damage. That attack ends Katie's turn, so now it's my turn. and I'll start by drawing a card. All right, I draw a card, and it is a Crocolore. Crocolore is a Stage 1 Pokemon, as evidenced by its stage in the top left corner. It also states Crocolore Stage 1 evolves from Fuecoco. In order to evolve it, I simply place Crocolore on top of Fuecoco, keeping any damage in place. If Fuecoco was affected by a special condition such as poison or burn, that would go away upon evolution. Now that Fuecoco has evolved into Crocolore, it will usually gain more HP and different attacks. You'll note that the attack costs of Crocolore's attacks is actually the same as Fuecoco's. So the two basic fire energy that I have attached also unlock Crocolore's attacks. We didn't say this earlier, but energy cost in an attack can be represented either by a specific type of energy, such as fire or lightning, or on my Charcadet, all the costs are represented by these white circles with black six-pointed stars inside of them. Those are called colorless symbols. Colorless energy can be satisfied by any type of energy. I'm ready to attack, but first, I don't want to miss out on my opportunity to attach one energy card per turn because, again, Crocolore is going to keep taking damage as Katie continues to attack me. So I'm going to take another basic fire energy from my hand and attach it to my Charcadet to continue to prepare Charcadet for battle. Now I'm ready to go ahead and use Crocolore's second attack, Hyper Voice, which does 70 base damage. 70 damage is actually equal to, or greater than, in this case, Mareep's total HP. Therefore, Mareep will be knocked out after that damage is placed.
So Mareep just took 70 damage, which is greater than 60. So he is knocked out. When a Pokemon is knocked out, you take the Pokemon and all attached cards and place them in your discard pile. You must immediately advance someone to the active spot.
As a result of the knockout, I now earn a prize for knocking out Katie's Pokemon. So I will take one of my prize cards and place it directly into my hand.
Now it is the beginning of my turn. I will draw a card. I have drawn a potion card, and I actually got to draw a potion card earlier in the game as well. Playing one potion heals 30 damage from one of my Pokemon. So by playing two, I'm able to heal 60 damage. I mentioned that this is an item card. Item cards are different than supporter cards. Item cards, you may play as many as you want during your turn, and it says that in the lower right-hand corner. A supporter card, you may only play one during each turn. That is also indicated in the lower right-hand corner of each supporter card. Now that my Voltorb is fully healed, I am going to evolve him to Electrode by placing Electrode directly on top of him. I am also going to play Rotom to the bench as a basic Pokemon in case Electrode gets knocked out on Neil's next turn. So as not to miss out on being able to attach an energy this turn, I'm going to attach a basic energy to Rotom. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use my attack Lightning Ball for one lightning energy to do 60 damage to Neil's Crocolore.
Okay, 40 plus 60 is 100, so I can actually represent that neatly with a single 10 damage counter marker for representing 100 damage. Attacking ends Katie's turn, so I'll begin by drawing a card. All right, so I'm going to draw a card, and it's a basic fire energy. We've now reached the end of the structured tutorial. So we'll just briefly go over the various actions available to you during a turn, and then Katie and I will play out the rest of this battle and see how it goes. We've already stated that at the beginning of your turn, you must draw a card. So drawing a card is always the first thing you do. If you attack, attacking always ends your turn. So attacking is always the last thing you do if you choose to do so. If you're unable to attack, or you don't want to attack, you can manually end your turn by telling your opponent that your turn is over and they may proceed with their turn. In between, however, there are a number of things that you're able to do. So first, you can play other basic Pokemon from your hand to your bench, face up, as long as you have bench spots remaining. So I've played a Fuecoco, a Torkoal, and a Houndour all to the bench.
Another thing that you can do is attach one energy card per turn. That is very important that you can only manually attach one energy card per turn. There are trainer cards and supporter cards that will allow you to attach extra energy. However, unless you have those to play, you can only attach one per turn.
So I will take a basic fire energy and attach it to my Fuecoco on the bench to begin to prepare Fuecoco for battle. Earlier, Katie retreated her active Pokemon. We already said to retreat a Pokemon, you must discard a number of energy attached to that Pokemon equal to the number of colorless energy symbols in the bottom right-hand corner next to the word retreat. Crocalor, for instance, has a retreat cost of 3. So in order to retreat Crocalor and prevent it from being knocked out by Katie's Electrode, I would have to attach a third energy to it and discard all 3 energy to move the damaged Crocalor to the bench. That's rather expensive, so I'm not going to choose to do that.
Another cool thing that you can do during your turn is evolve your Pokemon. You've seen us evolve a few Pokemon on our board already. The key thing to remember about this is you can only evolve a Pokemon who is already in play at the beginning of your turn after the first turn of the game. You may evolve as many eligible Pokemon on your board as you can. However, it is very important to remember that once a Pokemon has evolved, that is that Pokemon's first turn in play. So it cannot be evolved again until your next turn.
Finally, prior to your attack, and these can be done in any order other than drawing a card and attacking, you can play trainer cards. Katie's already gotten to demonstrate the blue item cards and the red supporters. Again, item cards, you can play as many as you want that are available to you. Supporters, you can only play 1 per turn. There are a few other card types, but I don't think we'll go over them in this tutorial. We have other videos you can watch if you want to learn more. I have drawn, I have played Pokemon, I have attached an energy. I don't have anything else that I want to do right now, so I'll go ahead and use Hyper Voice for 70 damage.
Okay, so I will place the 70 damage with a 50 and 2 10s. Now my turn begins and I will draw a card. I drew a Mareep and I'm going to play Mareep to my bench. I am also going to play a Wattrel to my bench. The next thing I'm going to do is attach a basic lightning energy to Mareep. Now there's nothing else that I can do, so now I'm going to attack Neil's Crocalor with Lightning Ball because I still only have 1 energy attached to Electrode. This will do 60 damage for the knockout.
All right, yep, so 50, 60, I now have 160 damage on Crocalor. That is greater than Crocalor's max HP of 110, and so Crocalor is knocked out. As we stated earlier, the Pokemon, including any Pokemon underneath, and attached cards like Energy, all go into the discard pile upon knockout, and I must immediately advance one of the Pokemon from my bench to the active spot. As a reminder, if you don't have any Pokemon to advance, you lose the game.
Now I will take my prize card for that knockout.
Okay, and I will draw a card to start my turn because Katie's attack ended her turn. I will attach a basic energy card from my hand to my Charcadet, unlocking its second attack, Magnum Punch. I will use Magnum Punch for 50 damage to Katie's Electrode, which results in it having more damage than its maximum HP of 90. And so Electrode is knocked out, and I will take my second prize card.
So Electrode, Voltorb, and my Lightning Energy go to the discard pile. Now I need to immediately advance someone. I will advance Rotom. Now I will draw to start my turn. I'm going to evolve Mareep into Flaffy, and I'm going to attach a basic energy to Flaffy. Now I'm going to use an attack called Linear Attack. This costs 1 colorless energy, which is paid for by the lightning energy attached. Linear Attack says, this attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance for benched Pokemon.
You should probably take a moment to explain what weakness and resistance are. They don't come into play in the tutorial, but in the bottom left corner of the Pokemon card, you'll notice a section for weakness and resistance. For example, all of my fire-type Pokemon are weak against water, and it tells you on the card ×2, so if those Pokemon are damaged by a water-type Pokemon, you multiply the damage done to them by 2. Resistance, on the other hand, can be illustrated by Katie's watch roll.
Resistance here says -30 next to a fighting type symbol. That means if Wattrel is attacked by a fighting type Pokemon, then you subtract 30 damage from the base damage done.
It is almost always the case that when a Pokemon attacks the bench, weakness and resistance are not applied. But when attacking the active Pokemon, weakness and resistance are applied if applicable. So which of my Pokemon would you like to deal 20 damage to?
I would like to deal 20 damage to your Fuecoco.
Okay. 20 damage on my innocent little Fuecoco on the bench. That is an attack. It ends Katie's turn, so I will draw. I will attach a basic fire energy to Fuecoco, and now I will play my first supporter card, Youngster. Youngster says shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. Ooh, this will be really interesting because this is the first time that we've had to shuffle the deck. Normally, we would have decks in sleeves and we would shuffle them a little differently. For now, I'll just do something like this. Even if in these next 5 cards I draw another supporter, I won't be able to play it until my next turn because Youngster counts as my 1 supporter per turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll make sure to put Youngster into my discard pile because it's already been played. I will go ahead and play a Pokemon called Larvesta to the bench. I still have 1 bench spot remaining because my Crocalor was knocked out previously. I'm going to play a card called Great Ball. Great Ball is an item, so I can play it even though I've already used Youngster. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal a Pokemon you find there and put it into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. And 7, okay. I'm going to reveal Volcarona. I'm going to put Volcarona into my hand and put these other cards back in my deck. For the sake of time, I'm going to turn my deck sideways to show that it needs to be shuffled before the next time that I draw or search out of it. Even though I drew Volcarona, who evolves from Larvesta, I cannot evolve Larvesta this turn because Larvesta was just put into play during this turn. So I have to wait. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle. Now I'm ready to attack. I will use Charcadet's Magnum Punch for 50 damage.
All right, now I will draw. So I also just drew Youngster. So I can go ahead and play this because I haven't played any supporters this turn. So it says shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. So that is shuffled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to play the item Great Ball. It is not a supporter, so I can play this even though I played a supporter. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may reveal a Pokemon you find there and put it into your hand. Shuffle the other cards back. I'm going to take Kilowattrel out. I'm going to take Kilowattrel and evolve Wattrel on the bench. I need to remember to discard Great Ball because I just used it. So I've shuffled my deck, and now I'm going to play another item card called Electric Generator. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and attach up to 2 basic lightning energy cards you find there to your bench lightning Pokemon in any way you like. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Okay, so I only found 1 lightning energy card, so those have to go back. Electric Generator gets discarded, and this has to be attached because of the effect of Electric Generator. It does not go into my hand. I'm going to attach that to Kilowattrel. This attachment from Electric Generator does not count as a normal energy attachment. Therefore, I am allowed to attach a second energy to Kilowattrel in the same turn. The other thing I'm going to do this turn is evolve to Ampharos. I am going to retreat Rotom for 1 energy and advance Ampharos to the active spot. Ampharos has Electric Ball unlocked because he's got 2 energy attached and it satisfies both energy requirements. So I can do 110 damage with Electro Ball.
Alright, 110 damage is more than Charcadet's max HP of 80. So Charcadet and all those energy attached go into the discard pile.
And I take a prize card.
I will immediately advance Torkoal to the active spot and draw a card to start my turn. I'm going to evolve Larvesta into Volcarona because Larvesta was put into play last turn. I'm going to play Nemona to draw 3 cards. That's my 1 supporter for the turn, so it'll go into the discard pile. I'm going to attach a basic fire energy to Volcarona and pass the turn.
Okay, so to start my turn, I'm going to draw a card. I drew Nemona, so I'm going to go ahead and play Nemona as my 1 supporter to draw 3 cards. I did draw another supporter, but I cannot play that because I just played Nemona. I am going to play Pikachu EX to my bench. I am also going to attach a 3rd energy to Kilowattrel, and I'm going to use Electro Ball for 110 damage on Neil's Torkoal.
I will draw a card. I will play the card Nest Ball, search your deck for a basic Pokemon, and put it onto your bench. I will take a Charcadet out of my deck and put it onto my bench in one of the open spots. If I didn't have any open spots on my bench, I couldn't play the card Nest Ball. Next, I'm going to play the card Jacq. Search your deck for up to 2 evolution Pokemon, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Crocalor and Skeledirge. I will discard Jacq because I've already played it. I'm going to go ahead and evolve Fuecoco into Crocalor, leaving the damage, and Skeledirge will go into my hand. I'm not really ready to attack with anything else, so I'm going to go ahead and pass the turn.
I will draw a card, and I will go ahead and play the supporter I drew on my last turn, Youngster. Shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. I'm going to play Mareep to the bench, and I'm going to attach a Lightning Energy card to Pikachu EX. I will go ahead and attack with Electro Ball for the knockout.
I will immediately advance Crocalor and draw a card. I will evolve Crocalor into Skeledirge. I will play Great Ball to look at the top 7 cards of my deck. I found a Houndoom. I'm going to take that and put that into my hand. I'll go ahead and evolve Houndour, discard the Great Ball that I played, and then I need to shuffle the rest of the cards back into my deck. Before I finish shuffling, I'm going to play a Fuecoco to the bench, and I'll play another Fuecoco to the bench, and then I'll play the card Youngster to shuffle my hand into my deck and draw 5 cards. What I really need right now is energy, among other things. I actually don't think there's any way I can win at this point, but we'll see. And by going ahead and playing the Fuecoco to my bench, I cannot redraw those Fuecoco, so I've increased the chance that among the 5 cards I draw at least some energy. I'm going to attach a basic fire energy to Skeledirge, and I'll go ahead and use Blazing Shout for 190 damage, but there is also an effect. This Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. So 20 plus 30 is a total of 50 damage on Skeledirge, but I do take a prize card for getting a knockout on Katie's Pokemon.
Ampharos and all the Pokemon under it and all of the energy attached go into my discard pile. I will immediately advance Kilowattrel and start my turn by drawing a card. Now, while there are things in my hand that I could play and things that I could do, I also know that I only have 1 prize card remaining, and this attack, Jetwing, will be able to knock out Neil's Skeledirge in 1 hit. So I know I'm about to win if I use this attack. So there's really no point in prolonging the game by playing other cards and attaching energy elsewhere. So in order to win the game, I have to say I'm going to use Jetwing for 150. Neil places the damage to equal 200, which is more than 180. So he is knocked out, and I am allowed to take my last prize card. I have no prize cards remaining, so I win the game.
Yep, the fact that I have Pokemon on my bench doesn't matter. Once all the prize cards are taken, that player wins. Again, if you did not have any Pokemon on the bench when your active Pokemon is knocked out, you lose regardless of how many prize cards are left on either side. And finally, if it's the beginning of your turn, you must draw and there are no cards in your deck, you lose by decking out. So those are the 3 ways that the Pokemon Trading Card Game can end. The Pokemon Trading Card Game is a really fun way to simulate a Pokemon battle, to practice reading, math, critical thinking, and have fun with friends while using some of your favorite characters from Pokemon. We hope that you've enjoyed walking through this tutorial with us, and we hope that you really enjoy using the Pokemon Trading Card Game in the future to play and learn.
Hi, and thank you for watching our video. We are Higher Education.
Play, learn.
Read your cards carefully. He's knocked out. Colorless Dragon. The middle era is 2002 to 2013. Good game.